Hey guys, Fidas here. I haven't done one of these clips in a long time. It's scorching hot here in Germany. Where inside there are like 30 degrees centigrade. So I feel like I'm melting. So I'll keep this to be as short as possible. What I've been up to? I just had a gig last Sunday with Picapau, a local samba ensemble from here, from Augsburg. They're part of a bigger organization together with Wunyao the Samba and I think some other ensembles here in Germany. Very cool. I got to play this guitar, my number two guitar. Um, yeah, here's the serial number. A very idealistic four zeros and a two. I think it's barely legible because this wood here is Romanian ash, or as it's known, northern ash, which is very hard. So it's very sturdy wood, and it's really complicated to work on it or to emboss stuff in it. All right. So my gig was a pretty cool gig. As I said, samba ensemble, like maybe 20 odd drummers. Um, cool songs, mostly Brazilian stuff, of course, samba. So I had to channel my inner Carlos Santana. I've published a couple of clips and pictures and stuff, and I'll keep on doing, because my good friend by his artistic name of Orion came to see us and to film. So thanks a lot, mate. And yeah, I cannot wait for our next meeting because me and Orion we're doing a podcast which is called Speaking Tangents, because he's like my brother from another mother. We have the same modus operandi. We start with talking about something and end up in a different universe. So yeah, that's how my videos usually are. So if you can get past the first minute, and kudos to you. Right. So Orion came and filmed and enjoyed the first set. We played another set in the evening, and I have to say it was so damp that at some point, so look, this guitar is kind of shiny, glossy-ish, right? Because I refinished it. It was like a dark emerald, greenish, bluish thing, right? I stripped all that and I got this. I tried this for the first time. I have to say, full on semi glossy super glue finish, which is horrible for your health. I had to wear a respirator mask and goggles. Horrible. But you know, it gets you like a pretty good result. So, and I also did that on the fretboard, and you can see I kind of vintaged a bit. I relicked the fretboard to give it a bit of that worn feeling. But because of the dampness, at some point I tried to do some bends and nothing was coming out of the guitar. So basically everything was stopping me from playing. So I might not play this outside in a damp environments. Right. So as I was saying, channeling my inner Carlos Santana, that was quite a thing, and that reminded me of my beginnings on electric guitar. I started around 14, 15, like summer of 96. Um, no, I was 14, 14, yeah, exactly 14 when I started playing guitar. I had a bit of an attempt when I was 7, but it never panned out. I talked a lot about it in my first video on this channel, my story. I'll have to redo it because that one is really meandering, and yeah, I don't think too many people can truly follow that alone. It goes on way too many tangents. Um, and about 1 or 2 years after, I got my first guitar, which was 12 string, the worst guitar to get uh, beginner, but my dad was really bombastic and he wanted like the most different thing always and the most special and the most this and that. He was a cool guy. And always he was always different than the rest of the bunch. So yeah, I pestered my dad. He got me an electric guitar. It wasn't quite the one I wanted. I wanted one of those metal guitars at the time, like a Floyd and Black and HSS and all that good stuff, or HSH actually. That guitar was, I think it was copying like an ESP or an Ibanez. Anyways, that didn't happen. What happened was Reagan Astra, which was this bizarre melange of Strat body with Music Man neck, and the plates, the pickguard, featured two quasi gold foil pickups. I would say tin foil pickups, and unfortunately they were top mounted on the pickguard, and you couldn't play past the 12th fret because you would touch the casing. So lots of my fellow guitar players at the time, who also were playing like Romanian Astra guitars, they were just taking the neck pickup out of the guitar or off the guitar. So yeah, and because we couldn't afford an amp at the time, like there were some small cubes that were actually called the Cube way before the Roland Cube. I borrowed a bass amp from my first guitar teacher and my mentor, Marius, and I have to tell you guys the story of that amp. So imagine like a solid state head, which was a copy of a Roland from the mid to late 70s, I guess. Um, Designed most likely for bass and or keyboards, so it was pretty clean. It was staying pretty clean. I think it had some parametric mid controls, like a low mid and a high mid. I didn't know what to do with all those controls. The thing that interested me, of course, was gain, which that amp was not great at replicating because it was not made for that. And also, like the front plate was, I said, like it was a copy of a Roland, so they replicated the Roland's, industrial dress, or how do you call it, product dress, something like that. So yeah, but the writing, the silk screen was not of very good quality, so you couldn't truly read. It was illegible, right? But after a lot of trials and testing, this and that, I figured out which one was the gain, uh, which was stuck. So at the time, you couldn't get your hands. We're talking like mid 90s. You couldn't get your hands on a deoxit or anything alike, like a contact spray. So an older electronics engineer, he told me, "Hey mate, you can use like a deodorant spray because the alcohol inside is the entire thing." So cool. I took my dad's Rexona, not a sponsored clip. I still remember the tube was black with white writing and some whatever green stripes or green leaves or something. And I put like a bunch of it. I mean, that amp was like reeking of Rexona body spray. So I got the parts moving, and with like pliers, I finally budged free the gain knob, which because this was a solid state, was, I think, was like a dual knob. It was also increasing the loudness of the entire thing, was kind of like the master volume as well. So I ended up terrorizing my neighbors. Imagine like the cabinet was this super mega oversized 15-inch bass, of course. I think it was a FBT speaker with like the hugest box ever. It was something. And it also had a bass reflex in the front. So now picture picture yourself my room. I was like the classic rock and roll teenager. Um, Posters on all my walls. I had like this huge. I was a big Bon Jovi fan, so I had like Bon Jovi, Scorpions, also big fan. I even had an Iron Maiden, even though I wasn't that much of a fan of Iron Maiden at the time. I'm more of, I mean, I like them more now, quite surprisingly, I would say. And lots of other posters, like Guns N' Roses, you name it, like 90s rock bands. And um, it was so loud in my room that at some point, so again, I had to crank the amp to get any kind of distortion, drive, gain happening. It was very fuzzy and very, old school, but still, I think I would have enjoyed it more now than then. Then would have really loved like a Marshall tone, like a JCM 800 or 900, something like saturated and stuff. But I would get this like super vintage, incredibly loud, right? 300 watts head with a 15-inch, not designed to distort cabinet, right? So I had to terrorize my neighbor. So again, if any of you are one of my former neighbors from when I was living at my parents, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. For me, it was a ton of fun. For you, I presume it was not. So I'm really sorry. It was what it was. Um, but yeah, and where I was going with all this thing, because I said something about Carlos Santana and channeling my inner Carlos Santana. At some point, we got this man. How was it called? Like a multimedia center thing, like a JVC double deck CD player, tuner, all the cool stuff, equalizer, and in a very 90s slick and futuristic design. And we had CDs, which were for us in the 90s still kind of new. And at some point, my dad got this best of Carlos Santana compilation, and I fell in love with the guy. So this guy's music you know, um, was incredibly important for me and my development as a guitar player. So now, many years later, right? The full circle thing. I finally got to more or less use it live with a more specialized in Latin music band. Um, so yeah, I had a ton of fun at this gig, and I just realized that I really missed out on and missed gigging way more often. So I hope I will do that now, uh, or resume doing it now. But my band, there is no band anymore, as you know. The band kind of imploded in April, or where was it? The drummer decided to not continue with my band, and the bass player has some health issues, so I hope he will get better soon. But my focus right now is on finishing the album. Um, the title track is done. I mixed and mastered it. I need to focus now on a release date. It might be sometimes in August, maybe on my birthday. Who knows? Um, so yeah, Chasing Flames, the single, is coming pretty soon. Well, more or less soon, soonish. We're in what is today, like 24th of June. So yeah, there's a month and or 2 months until the first single. I still have to finish up. So three of the songs, the exactly the what is it, 8, 9, and 10, as in the list on the album, are still at basic idea and nothing more. And for the rest of them, the the overarching structure is done. I just need to track the rest of the instruments and do the instrumentation. Again, for anyone who does not know what kind of music I produce, this album will be kind of different. I started with this proggy, fusiony kind of thing on my first album. I went pretty cinematic on my second album, like a mixture of rock and folklore and even a bit of jazz, a bit of fingerstyle guitar, even some more neoclassically influenced songs like The Unknown Soldier, which is more or less my tribute to Brian May and Queen. Again, one of my favorite guitar players ever and my favorite band. Um, but this album is, after doing on my third album like a lot of introspection. I have two songs dedicated to my parents, two other songs dedicated to my kids. So that was album number three, Turning Within, was very personal. Album four, Chasing Flames, is me turning back to my blues rock roots and summer of 96 and 97 when I was listening to a lot of Jimi Hendrix and a lot of like the Summer of Love, hippie and hard rock stuff. And man, I was having a blast, and my neighbors were unfortunately also being blasted by my unbelievably loud amp. Yeah. So again, sorry neighbors, but it was fun for me. And yeah, what's in other words, what's new? Exactly in a week from now, my first ever podcast is coming out and online and available to all of you. Me and my good friend by the artistic name of Orion, we've always done this like he's sending me a message, I send him a longer message, then he's sending me an even longer one, I send him like a voice message, then the voice message duel continues, which ends up with a phone call which takes like 2 or 3 hours, and at some point we were both like, hey mate, let's have a podcast because what we're doing here is very podcast like. So that's what we've been doing for the last month and maybe like 5 weeks or something like that. I don't know. So yeah, we've been having a lot of fun. Recording every Friday here in my home studio, my living room. New episodes of this ever flowing discussion under the name of Speaking Tangents, because that's our thing. We start here and end up two parallel universes that way. So that's also new. Otherwise, I will be visiting Sabine, who's the violin player, amazing violin player, who played on my second album on Early Wine. He did all those folklore-inspired lines. He's besides being a great classic violin player, he dabbled more than a lot or more than a bit into Romanian folklore and let's say Balkanic folklore. And even though Romania is not a Balkanic country, but that's a different discussion, maybe for the podcast. So yeah. Also, what about this guitar? So I used it for my gig with Pickapow. This one features two DiMarzio pickups. Is my first and actually my only guitar with DiMarzio pickups. I don't know why, because I love them. I have a tone zone in the bridge and something else here. So they are designed to look or to fit a P90 routed guitar. And yeah, this one was intended to be my Les Paul, let's say, or Les Paul Junior. And yeah, it really sounds like one. I also have this switch here. It's like on switch, DPDT, which puts this pickup. So up is parallel, down is series, and this makes it so in the parallel mode it sounds more like a single coil. It's not as fat and powerful, and in the series, it's back to humbucking mode. And also the red switch that featured on lots of all of my guitars. This is basically a bypass for both pots, and it's like an old school or a basic boost for the guitar, because when you take the pots out of the equation, yeah, the pickups go straight to the output, and the volume slightly increases and gets a bit more present and a bit more everything. So yeah, I used this one. The only thing that happened was so we play like two sets, me and Picapau last Sunday again. Friedberg, Fête de la Musique was really cool. It was really damp in the evening when we played our second set, and at some point I was doing some bends and nothing was coming out because, yeah, as I showed you before, this one is finished with super glue, and because it has like this shiny fretboard, which might have been a mistake. Yeah, it was a bit complicated, but I managed in the end. So yeah, again, album is coming soon. I still need to think. I think I have a good idea of the imagery, so the album cover, and the how is it called, the leaflet. Is it a leaflet? I don't know how it is, like a concertina thing. So if I'll issue this one on like a small series of CDs or something like that, it will have lots of pictures inside, which will be a lot of personal memorabilia, like some of my mom's jewelry and some stuff like tickets, rock tickets. I said, well, I told you the story of how I got my dad tickets to Page and Plant in '98, I think, and yeah, I inadvertently made him cry, and yeah, it was a cool moment to remember. And I have lots of other tickets to other very very cool concerts and cool gigs I've been at, and it's been kind of you know going back to my childhood, my teenage years. That's kind of the theme of the next album. It's again a trip down memory lane, as they say, and yeah, I hope you'll enjoy it. I hope to have many more gigs soon, and yeah, I will also do some gear stuff. I have lots of plans and lots of ideas, but not that much time, and it's really hot here, so I have to cut this one now. Thank you for being here. If you like this sort of stuff and my other stuff, go and check it. There are playlists. I might put one here or there or whatever. Go on my channel. Subscribe, please. You can also click that notification button bell thing. You won't be getting too many notifications from me anyways. So yeah, I'm pretty chill with that. And yeah, follow, click, check me on other social media like Instagram or wherever I am, Facebook. And see you soon. I will also link my future podcast and the description. And you know, have a nice one. Take care. Stay in the shadows. Don't get out in the sun. It's really scorching here in Germany, and I saw in the rest of Europe was the same and is the same. So yeah, take care, hydrate, and yeah, see you in the next one. Ciao.